Are you getting my voice clearly today?
No, ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon, first now. Okay, you're not getting my voice? Fine, I'll work on that. Okay, we'll start the session now. I believe my voice is quite clear now. Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Okay. So today is the third lecture on writing a research proposal, and next would be the wind up session for the same topic, how to write a research proposal. Uh, can we wait for a minute? I think still people are joining. If I'll start, then they'll not be able to follow. We'll just wait for a minute, and then we'll go for the session. Upasna, I really want to appreciate your efforts for framing a research question. Definitely, I'm going to reply you through mail, but I really appreciate that. Good. And all of you are going to submit the document soon. Of course, I'm going to make the Google Classroom soon. Most probably, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay. And then you can submit the work there. How to access the Google Classroom? Last 5 minutes, I'll guide you. Don't worry. Fine. Now, let's start the session. So, I think in the last session, we have discussed certain concepts related to writing a research proposal, and I would like to continue the same session. Okay, and the next would be the wind up session and certain tips on how to write a research proposal. Fine. So hopefully we have given 4 sessions to writing a research proposal. I know this is not enough. What I will do is once I'll frame the Google Classroom, I'm going to share certain documents and files with you related to how to write a research proposal, and I'll also share the sample research proposal. Of course, maybe that is going to help you in terms of writing a research proposal. And uh, uh, see, we are, it doesn't mean after completing the 4 sessions based on how to write a research proposal, does not mean that we are done with the topic. What I'll do, I'll give you continuously, I'll give you some work, and we'll try to cover up the entire writing proposal thing through through mail. No, not through mail, but you're going to submit the pieces of your research proposal on Google Classroom, and I'll be continuously evaluating that online. Okay, so that way I think we can do that. Fine. Okay, now let's begin the session. I'm going to share the file with you. So I think in the last session we had a discussion about how to give an appropriate title to the research proposal, uh, how to write an abstract, how to write an abstract, and how to write an introduction part. So these are the 3 things that we have discussed in last session. Before we start today's session, I would like you to go through the quiz section and try to uh, answer the questions. So basically there are 5 questions and you have 6 minutes to attempt the quiz. Make sure all of you reply in the chat box. Okay, go through the questions carefully and try to answer the questions. Yes, Tasvi, I've received your mail.
Ma'am, could you please repeat?
Sure. Before we start today's session, these are the questions. Okay, and go through the questions, and you're supposed to answer the question, and then I'll start the session. Okay, I hope my instruction is clear now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm waiting for the responses. Okay, so first is true. Okay, what about others? What you people are thinking? Bautik, what is your answer? Denisha, Dhaval, Janki, Baputra, what is your answer for the first question? True. Kinjal, what do you think? Question number 1. Okay. Okay, fine. No, we'll only stick to question 1 only. Those who are saying question 1 is true, I want the justification now. So, Riddhi, could you justify why question number 1 is true? Riddhi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please justify why question 1 is true?
No idea, ma'am.
Wait.
Okay.
I
Okay,
do
those who want to justify, okay, one by one you can speak. Okay, first I'm asking Riddhi. Riddhi, are you ready with the answer?
Eight.
Riddhi, I'm not getting your voice
Ma'am,
clearly.
if we want to, like
Huh.
research for any good or
Hmm.
like better
Hmm. Hmm.
topic, so we
Hmm.
have to know the problems first, because without it we can't find the
Hmm.
solution, right?
Okay, good. Any other
It's like
justifications for question 1?
true
Yeah,
statement.
okay, fine. Go ahead. Okay, fine. Question number 2. To identify the research area, one needs to do a serious research analysis in a specific field. So most of you have answered true. That's really good. I really want Twinkle to justify why is it true. Justify the answer. Twinkle, are you there? Please justify the answer. If you are saying it's true, why is it true? Okay. Zainab, would you like to justify for the second question? Okay. And the first, because if we know about. Okay. Kushbu, I'm reading it. Eight. That's correct. Kushbu Thakkar. Good. Question number 3. Is there anyone who would like to justify the answer? A researcher should be someone who is honest and committed towards the work. Yes, justified. Why? Number 4, organizing the entire research design appropriately is what research proposal is all about. What do you think about this? Would you like to comment on that? Is there anyone who would like to comment on that? And the last answer you're supposed to write in the chat box, and you have only 1 minute. Do it quickly. What is an abstract? Write down the answer for the last question quickly so that we can start the session. Okay. What is an abstract? I'm looking for that answer.
Ma'am,
Yes, perfect.
abstract is like a summary or a research articles, a thesis, review, conferences producing in a. It is like a whole plan of depth analysis that what are you doing in your research and how. That's all
Yes,
are abstract.
definitely. Good.
Ma'am,
Yeah, sure.
abstract mean idea but not having a physical concentrate existence.
Okay, fine. Could you please repeat it? It is an idea of. That's way if you can just write down in
It
the
is an
chat
idea
box.
about research. What, ma'am?
Okay. Yeah. I got it. Fine. Good. Okay, Dhaval has tried to answer the question. Poonam has also tried to answer the question. Um, yes, physically comprehension to project work. Fine. One more minute for the last question. I really want all of you to contribute. It is the most important question. Okay. Janab, you're not answering. Please try to answer. Feel comfortable and answer. Okay. Trusha, you should also answer this question. Niyati, Pinal, Pooja, Punam, Priyaben, Radha, Rajeshwari. Try to answer the question. Okay. Yeah, I'm waiting for the answer. If you don't feel comfortable speaking the answer, there is an option. You can also write. Fine. An abstract is a self-contained, short, and powerful statement that designs a larger work. Bhumi Thakkar, very well. Good. Poonam, I really appreciate your efforts. Anjali, good that you are answering all the questions. Still, the fifth one is remaining. Please answer that. Good. Janki, good you are contributing yourself. Okay, good. Fine. So, I think we should start with the session now. Okay, so in the last lecture, we discussed about abstract, giving an appropriate title to the research work, uh, and having a very clear introduction of your research work. Now, the most important thing is doing a literature review. Okay, so what is literature review? As I told you, there is this process called identifying the research area. So once you identify your research area, it is very important for you to come up with the very concrete idea of what exactly you want to work upon in terms of research work. So identifying a research area is a very broad field. It's a very broad area, and from that area we need to select a kind of topic, a particular topic where you want to start the research work. So literature review is a way that is definitely going to help you in terms of identifying that specific topic that you actually want to work upon. Okay, so reviewing a literature means once you identify the specific area, you're going to do a lot of analysis, you're going to do a great research in that specific area, and you're trying to come up with this with the particular topic. Like, this is the topic I feel that I should work upon that, because nobody else has worked upon that, because that's the left out topic, and it should have some contribution to today's time period. Or maybe you feel that a certain topic is really important in today's time scenario. So reviewing a literature, it's like reviewing the relevant. Okay, let's discuss these points one by one. What exactly we mean by literature review and how we should do that. So whenever it is about literature review, you should be able to review it, keeping in mind the relevant research work. Let's say you are doing a research work on food microbiology, but you are reviewing the research work of medicine microbiology, then this is not going to help. Okay, so your literature review should be relevant to the area of research, your area of research that you have identified. I hope this is clear to all. Yes, just type yes in the chat box. Now, literature review is actually important because once you identify, the process of literature review means, let's say you want to work. Okay, I'll give you one example. I'm interested in. I'm so much interested in environmental science, and I really want to know what is the reason behind the climate change. Okay, so that's the kind of area that I've identified. Okay, now there are 100 people. They've already worked upon this thing, and they've already answered so many queries regarding the climate change. Okay, I'm another kind of a researcher, okay, going through their research to know more about the climate change. So this process of going through their research work, there are 100 people who have already worked upon this climate change area, and I am reviewing their research work, doing a very sharp analysis, going through it, and pointing out the most important part from the research work, summarizing. As a researcher, I'm also summarizing the research work, and finally, at the end of the literature review, I come up with my ideas. Okay, based on their ideas. This is what we mean by literature review. I hope this example is clear. Yes or no? The example that I gave you is okay, fine. Do you want me to give one more example, or do you want me to go ahead? Can I go further? Yes, yes means should I give another example, Kinjal? Okay, go ahead. Fine. Yes. So that's what literature review is. So let's come back to this slide, and the second point, identifying the supportive concepts for the research. So when I as a researcher, I'll go through that 100 research that people have done on climate change, I'll get a supportive ideas and supportive concepts for my research work. Okay. I hope the second point is clear, because if this process of literature reviewing is not clear, will not be able to frame the hypothesis. So this is a very sensitive topic, and you should be very much clear with this thing. Okay, let's go further. Identifying the research gaps. Wonderful. That's the very important part of your research work. Now, as a researcher, I'm going through the 100 works related to the climate change thing, and I felt that something is missing in their work. Okay, and I come up with that idea. So that's the research game. Okay, let's say there is researcher A talking about climate change in terms of providing a very relevant data. Like researcher A is stating that because of the industrialization, there is a lot of climate change. Researcher B stating that people are irresponsible, and that's why there is a great climate change and we are suffering from that. Researcher C stating that uh, day by day technologies are increasing, and also people are becoming irresponsible. So researcher C is supporting researcher A as well as researcher B, and framing and come up with the new ideas. And that's why there are so many reasons, and that's why we are suffering from the climate change thing. I, on the other side, researcher tries to find out that, okay, this many people are stating so and so related to the climate change thing. But I believe that this is something, another important aspect and the reason for the climate change. So I come up with the new ideas. So that's the research gap that I identified, and on the basis of that research gap, I come to know that this is something that is missing, and I should come up with that concept. This is what we mean by the research gap. I hope this is clear to all. Yes or no? Bhumi, is this clear to all? Dara, Dhaval, Falaku, you're not answering, you're not contributing. Are you following the session, Falaku? Hetsi, this is clear? Fine. Okay, let's go ahead. Literature review involves sharp analysis of the relevant research work. I'm not going to repeat that because I've already explained that. It should help your current research topic. Yes, definitely. So as I told you that I'll follow researcher A, B, and C, and then I'll come with my statement. So of course it's a kind of while this literature review process will definitely going to help me in terms of bringing new ideas, bringing or making my research a valid one. And okay, how part is something, okay, sorry, uh, let's discuss the last point first. It includes your research proposal should include 10 to 15 literature review. Okay, so make sure you refer at least 10 to 15 related research work, okay, in your research proposal. Now the question is this, I think the how part is clear, how you should be able to do the literature review. Okay, once again, I would like to repeat here, and then we'll move towards the what part, why is it necessary and how you should do that. The first thing is, let's say you're referring 15 to 20 research work. Okay, referring research work means referring the entire research thesis. Okay, so you are going through the entire research project of someone, you are summarizing it in just one paragraph, okay, in your own words, fine, and you are mentioning the name of that person, like this is the person, so and so person has done research on so and so topic, fine, and you are summarizing it in terms of giving a final conclusion, like the conclusion of so and so's research work is this. That's how you should be able to write it down. Don't worry, once I'll frame the Google Classroom, I'll also share the example of how to write a research review. So don't worry, we'll do that. I hope this research review is quite clear to all. Yes or no? How to write a research review, I'll send you the sample, but how you should do that, I hope that part is clear to all. Fine. Okay. Reviewing a literature, reviewing a research of for the purpose of literature review should also is also in the paragraph form. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. And the most important part of the entire research proposal writing is hypothesis. It's very simple. Now, the moment you will do the literature review, as I've given you one example, I would like to follow that example only. Okay, the moment you'll go through the literature review properly, you'll see that there is a research gap, and that phase, that research, the moment you identify the research gap, is the moment where you will also identify your hypothesis. Before we go to that, I would like to explain what we mean by hypothesis in a very simple way. Okay, hypothesis means you come up with a particular statement. I'll give you one example. Let's say I'll give you okay, I'll give you one statement. Okay, I believe that day by day COVID-19 cases are increasing. Okay, and I believe that people are responsible for this because um, like the statement is COVID-19 cases are increasing day by day rapidly, and for that people are also responsible, not just the virus. It is people who is also responsible, okay, because they are not following social distancing, they are not taking care of themselves appropriately. Uh, in the worst cases, people are not serious about it, and they are so much careless. So here, what I did, I gave a statement and I gave some reason why I think in this direction. I give a supportive statement also to justify my main statement. So here my main statement is COVID-19 cases are increasing rapidly, and I believe it is not just the virus who is responsible, but the people are also responsible in terms of spreading the disease. And I've also given 3 to 4 supportive statement. Okay, I hope all the statements are clear. Now here, the main statement could be my hypothesis, where I am assuming something. Okay, uh, or I'm believing something. I'm not sure about it. It is just that in this direction I think. Okay, my supportive statements where I stated that people are careless. It is based on the data, or it is based on the real life experiences that I've come across, and I'm also analyzing people. I'm also doing a very serious study, and I give a statement that people are careless because they are not wearing masks, they are not following the social distancing. So on certain data, okay, based on the certain data, I come up with the supportive statements. Okay, so this is what hypothesis is. You make a statement where, as a researcher, you're not quite sure whether the statement is true or not. The way I made a statement about COVID-19, it was just an assumption, it was just a tentative statement, or it was just a statement. That's it. And to prove the statement, I'll do the research work to prove it, whether people are more responsible or virus. Maybe that would be the thing I'm looking for when I give such a statement. So is it people? Just a minute. When I make such a statement, I really want to justify that it is more people than virus who is responsible spreading COVID-19. So I'll do the research in this direction, and at the end, I'll come up with the conclusion that yes, of course, the virus was the major responsible thing that is responsible for this COVID-19 spreading the COVID-19 thing. But I believe people and their behavior is something that is another major part in terms of spreading COVID-19 disease. So here, what I'll do is I frame a statement that is not at all I'm sure about whether it could be true or false. The entire research, I'll try to find out whether my statement is true or not. and I'll come up with the valid data and valid arguments and solutions that can prove my statement true at the end of my research work. That's what we mean by the hypothesis. I hope you get some idea about hypothesis. Yes or no? Are you following me? Fine. Good that you people are following. Radha, are you following? Did you follow this entire hypothesis section? Rajeshwari, Riddhi, Sagar Kubawat, did you follow? Did you follow? Janab, did you follow? See, if you're not clear with the hypothesis, we can still discuss about this. I can still give you 100 examples to make it clear, because this is the most important part of the research proposal writing. So don't worry about the time. I can still explain you. Hinal, if you don't get anything, or if you don't feel comfortable writing no here, you can call me. I'm ready to explain there as well. Okay. My purpose is you should be able to understand whatever we are dealing with. So if you don't feel comfortable sharing whether actually you got the concept or not, that's okay. You call me, I'll talk to you. Bhumi, both the Bhumis, you followed this hypothesis, right? Forum, Danisha, Anjali, Bhautik, समझ में आया आपको? Amish Kumar, all of you followed, right? Good, fine. Okay, so now let's come to the slide stating what exactly we mean by research hypothesis. Research hypothesis is a very tentative solution to the research problem. So I gave you one example, right? Where my problem with the statement is I really want to prove that it is people who are responsible spreading COVID-19. So that's the research problem. And the solution is the data could be the part of the solution thing. I'll collect certain relevant data, and then I'll justify that yes, it is people who are responsible. Your hypothesis will bring the clarity in your research work. The moment I'm stating that industrialization is responsible for the climate change, it is just a statement, not the clear statement, because there isn't a relevant data that can justify the statement. But the moment I'll follow the entire process in terms of justifying my statement, this entire process of putting the hypothesis is going to make my research work quite clear at the end of it. The moment I'll make a statement, I'll try to justify the statement. Justification part is really important. And whatever the efforts I'm putting to justify my statement is something that will bring clarity in the research work. Facts. Now, the moment I make a statement, I don't mean it doesn't mean that I'm putting facts, but the moment I'll try to justify it, I'm following certain facts. For example, let's follow this COVID-19 thing. So here, people are responsible because people are attending wedding. People are responsible because people are going out, and they still do this social gathering. So these are the facts, and on the basis of these facts, I can state that it is people who are responsible for spreading COVID-19, right? So these are the facts. So hypothesis will also include facts, and if it includes facts, it means you are doing quality research work. Your research is on a right track. Fine. Now, framing the statement, it could be true or false, but coming to the conclusion, you can justify that your statement is true. Okay. And the last point is it should be consistent with the data. How are you going to prove that whether your statement is true or not? Of course, you should be able to provide a valid data for that. That's what the hypothesis includes. I hope the entire hypothesis conversation that we did in this session was clear to you. Yes or no? Is this clear? Fine. Let's go further. Importance of hypothesis. Why having a clear hypothesis in your research proposal is important. It is going to develop your research work. It is going to bring the clarity in your research work. This will also give you the tentative solution in between the research work. But when you come to the conclusion part, it will give you the concrete solution and it will enhance the quality of your research work. So basically, to put this entire concept of hypothesis in a simple language, I'll just say that hypothesis means you come up with the question, research question. The process of hypothesis means you go through the entire process where you try to find out the answer for the question, and the conclusion means you come up with the solution for the question, you come up with the answer for the question, and that would be the conclusion. That would be the last part for the process of hypothesis. So I really hope this hypothesis is clear to you. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Now, after hypothesis, the most important part is research methods. See, before we forget the structure, I would, if you can, in the chat box, if you can write down the chronologically, whatever the points we have discussed so far, starting from the lecture 1, like I really want you to write down the order of components that is useful in terms of writing a research proposal. Let's say number 1 is identifying the research area. No, not like that. We are talking about only writing the research proposal. No, you can write it. I really want you to follow the order. Step 1 is identifying the research area. Step 2, step 3, tell me. Stepwise, you're supposed to answer that. Write down in the chat box. Step 1, I told you. Identifying the research area. Step 2, would be no. I'm not talking about the entire session that we have done. I'm just talking about, I want you to tell all the steps that is going to help you in writing research proposal. So step 1 is identifying the research area. Step 2, what would be the step 2? No, before abstract, you forgot to give it a title. We have discussed about that. Yes, give it, yeah, title, and then abstract. After abstract, keywords. Good. Then, very good. After keywords, After keywords, what is the next? Do it quickly. Introduction, very good. After introduction, main body. Okay, fine. Introduction. What would be the next step after introduction? After introduction, it's main component. What is the reason and why and how are we going to do that? Material and methodology. I haven't discussed material and methodology. I really want you to follow the structure. So let me put it this way. First, we are going to identify the area. Okay, after identifying the area, you'll come with a particular topic that you really find interesting enough to do the research work. After doing that, um, uh, of course the title thing will come at last, but still it is mandatory to give it a tentative title to your research project, research work. So you're going to give some title to that. After doing that, you're going to write an abstract in terms of what exactly you're planning to do in the research work. So after writing an abstract, following the keywords as well, you're going to write an introduction to your research work. In the introduction, you're going to introduce the research topic that you have identified. Okay, and that would be the introduction part. After the introduction, uh, you're going to do the uh, literature review. Okay, so literature review I've already explained you in this session, and after doing the literature review, you are going to come up with the hypothesis, because literature review is something that is the only way that can help you to come up with the hypothesis. Okay, so if you once you do the literature review, you'll be able to find out the research questions that is missing in the research area, and you'll come up with the hypothesis. Now, once you're clear about the hypothesis, it means research questions and the answers, tentative solution for that research. Okay. The next important thing is methods. Now, method means it is a kind of a bridge between your research question and the research answer. So method is something that is going to help you to achieve the target. There is a way. It is a kind of a way. Okay, that helps you to come up with the appropriate solution for your research query. So let's look at that topic. The most important thing about writing a research proposal is you should know what is the research method, what are the types of research method, and which kind of research methods are useful for your research. Again, this research method has a very deep connection with the research design. So it depends, selecting a research method actually depends on your research design. What kind of a research are you doing? Okay, let's say in the current scenario, uh, people are doing, keeping COVID-19 in mind, people are doing action research. Action research means action research requires an immediate solution to the problem. COVID-19 was a kind of a medical emergency. It occurred at one point of time, and now the situation is that we need an immediate solution for this. Okay, so this is action research, where researcher tries to find out the solution immediately. There is a query, there is a problem, COVID-19 as a problem. Solution would be the vaccine that will come, hopefully. Okay, let's discuss about research methods. I hope you are following this research method thing that we are discussing right now. Are you following? Forum, are you following? Dhaval? Nancy? Okay. Ranjini, are you following? Janab, you are not answering. Janab, are you there? Are you following? Okay, good. Yeah. Research methods. Method is a path that can lead you towards the research. So as I told you, once you identify the hypothesis that, okay, these are the queries that you are looking for as a researcher, now there should be a way. How are you going to find out the answers for the queries that you have? So there are many methods that you can use. Okay, it is a kind of a path that can lead you towards the research work, that can lead you towards the final solution of your research work. It is a bridge between research problems and research solution. As I told you, uh, this your research method is definitely going to help you in terms of filling that gap between the research problem and the research solution. How? I'll come to that. Don't worry. Method can help you to identify the solution in a very systematic way, and method can also add the critical part of your research work. Let me give you one example here so that it is easy for you to understand what exactly we mean by the research methods. So, uh, let's say, just give me a minute. Yes, I'm back. So I'll give you one example so that we can understand the research method. As I told you that COVID-19 was a kind of a medical emergency, right? So uh, all the scientists or the people who are involved with the medical field, they are trying to work upon the vaccine thing so that we hopefully get the vaccine and we can recover the patients who are suffering from the COVID-19. Now here, all of them, what exactly they are doing is they are experimenting with the materials that they have, okay, with the tools that we can access. Okay, so this is a kind of an experimental research, or it could be also an applied research where we apply certain theories and we try to find out the solution, where we experiment with two or three things, and we come up with the vessel, and then we do a trial whether this is going to work out or not. Are you getting my point? So this is what we mean by the research method, a kind of a way to look at the problem. Okay, let me give you another example. Did you follow the first example? Yes or no? Okay, I'll give you another example. And okay, let's say as a researcher, I'm working upon Indian Ocean. Okay, and I'm trying to see how Indian Ocean is helpful in terms of connecting one country to another country in so many ways, um, economically as well. Okay, so how Indian Ocean opens door for the global business. Okay, so here what I will do is I'll refer some data, okay, and I'll come up with the solution. So this kind of a research does not involve any experiment. Here I'm not experimenting it. I'm just trying to justify the statement. So it could be done with the qualitative research method. Okay. So there are types of research method, and to find out the solution for the query that I have as a researcher, I will follow a kind of a method, okay, that is going to help me to achieve the target at the end of my research work. That's what we mean by the research method. There are types of research method. I'll share the document with you, okay, so that for this part, uh, the research method part, I would like to go for the flipped classroom. Flipped classroom means I will share the document tomorrow with you, and the document is about types of research methods and introduction to research method. You're supposed to go through that document, okay, and in the next session, if you have any doubt, we will discuss that and then we'll go further. So it's a flipped classroom where you're supposed to work at your own convenience, okay, and whenever you come for the session, you should bring certain doubts. That's it. Hope you understood this flipped classroom concept. Fine. Just type yes if you understood that. Fine. Let's talk about, so in this session, I'm just giving you the general idea about research method. Uh, Research method can also help in terms of identifying the solution in a systematic way, and it can also add the critical part to your research work. So what would be the critical part? It could be the critical concepts and critical terms that you are going to use in your you're going to use while writing a research proposal. So as I told you, whenever we go for finding a solution immediately, this is called action research. So there are critical terminology that you will be using in your research proposal. Okay, fine. The last Not the last topic, still one session is also dedicated to writing a research proposal. The next important component is research materials. I'm going to share the document for research methods because I know this is not sufficient to justify with the concept of research methods. And if I'll talk about research method, then we'll be requiring one entire session for this thing. That is ideally not possible. That's why I believe flipped classroom will work. So I'll share the data, you read that, and you come up with the doubts in the next session. Let's talk about research materials. Research materials means tools and equipments that you are using while doing the research. For example, to identify the appropriate vaccine for the COVID-19 disease, there are so many tools and equipments that we are using. Okay, so that's the part of the research thing. Here, I would like to address certain questions, and I really want you to think about these questions, not just as a student, but as a researcher. How certain tools are important to your research work. Once you identify the research area, once you frame your hypothesis in a very clear way, I believe you will be able to answer these questions. How better can you utilize the research tools? What is the purpose of using certain tools in the entire process of research work? How tools are going to find a way to come up with a kind of solution? What kind of different variables are you going to use in your research work? And what could be the budget? Okay. These are the questions that you should be very much clear about before you start the actual research. Okay. So you're going to address these things in your research proposal. Fine. I hope research material is quite clear to all. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me. You can also type in the chat box if you have any query. Okay. Is there any query regarding the topics that we have discussed today? Fine. I'm going to mark the attendance. Just a minute. I'll tell your name one by one. Number 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Give me a minute. Number 1 is there. Fine. Number 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 5.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 6. Number 7.
Present, ma'am.
Yes. 8.
Present, ma'am.
9. Number 9.
ma'am.
10. 1, 0.
Yes, ma'am.
11.
Yes, ma'am.
12.
Yes, ma'am.
13. 1, 3. 13.
Present, ma'am.
14.
Present, ma'am.
15. 15 number. 16.
Present, ma'am.
17.
Present, ma'am.
18. 1, 8. 18.
Present, ma'am.
19. 19 number. Absent. 20 number.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 21.
Yes, ma'am.
22.
Yes, ma'am.
24.
Yes, ma'am.
25.
Yes, ma'am.
26. 26. 50. 29. 29 number. 30.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. 31.
Yes, ma'am.
32.
Yes, ma'am.
33.
Yes, ma'am.
34. 34. 48.
Yes, ma'am. 48.
Fine. 35.
Present, ma'am.
36.
Present, ma'am.
37.
Present, ma'am.
38.
Yes, ma'am.
39. 40.
Present.
Okay. 41.
Present, ma'am.
43.
Present, ma'am. 41.
44.
Present, ma'am.
Yeah. 45.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. 46.
Present, ma'am.
47.
Present, ma'am.
52. 52. 53. Present. 53 is present. Okay. 54.
Present, ma'am.
Yeah. 56. 57.
56. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And
57.
okay, fine. Next session, I'll meet you, hopefully the last session, and we'll wind up this entire thing. And of course, I've already given you the task that you are going to do that the moment I'll frame the Google Classroom. By the time, start working upon it, okay? And be safe. Please take care of yourself. Have a nice day. Goodbye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.